is make a cut to leave myself those 3 options on the right side. You can see those 3 options I've got. Then on this other side, I've got 2 options. In front of us, we've got a whole vine from left to right being 1.5 metres in this case. We have a trunk from the base of the vine up to what we call the crown. And the crown of the vine is the area at the top of the trunk where we find our either our canes or the beginning of our cordon section. Generally in the VSP, we'll go left and right out of the crown. Coming out of the crown, in this cane pruning instance, we've got 2 canes. Okay, so trunk, crown, canes are these mature 2-year-old now wood. The other structure that we have here is a spur, which is a 2-bud 2-year-old piece of wood here, from which there's a couple of 1-year-old canes coming out. So we've got 2-year-old cane here, 1-year-old cane. Trunk, crown, wood older than 2 years out of the top of this crown. This vine here is more than 25 years old. It was planted in the early 90s, 91 I think. So that's the structure in a general sense. More specifically, we have buds along the cane. What we call that bud area is a node, and then we have the internodal gap between buds. That's probably getting more technical than we need to, but that's really explaining pretty much the whole vine. Trunk, crown, canes, spurs, buds at each node, internodal gap between buds. That structure. Let's go to cane pruning. So when we talked before about what we're trying to achieve, in this environment, we've got factors in the environment. What are the factors in this environment that we've got in front of us? What are the things that this vine deals with in this environment? Weather, yep. So that's the environment above ground is the weather.
Well, if I look, we're on a hill here. From what I've felt is we're going down the hill this way, but the vines is planted that way. So maybe it holds water in a certain way and that maybe affects the rootstock.
Yep,
I don't
so
know if I'm thinking too far ahead.
Topography or geography, so the lie of the land.
Yeah.
Yep. So you got the above ground environment, the lie of the land. You got the below ground environment, which is soil. Yeah. Okay. So the vine's dealing with the above ground environment and the below ground environment. Now that's what this vine in this environment is the cause and effect, or the way this vine expresses itself through the soil and the above ground environment that it has. This is Chardonnay. So again, Chardonnay will deal differently in this environment that Pinot will, and Cabernet and Shiraz. We shouldn't say Cabernet because they don't really grow it here. But you'll find out why we don't grow Cabernet here if you plant it, because in this environment it doesn't ripen. So you need to know your environment to know how you're going to prune. And through experience, we understand that in this environment, in a 1.5 metre spacing between vines, we can produce a fairly balanced vine with good vigour in canes if we leave in the region of 20 to 24 buds on that vine. And if we're leaving 20 to 24 buds on that vine, we know we'll get reasonable expression out of that vine, and we'll get balance of growth, which will give us balance of fruit. If we leave too few, we get too much vigour in those buds we leave. If we leave too many, we get too little vigor, too much fruit. So the leaf to bunch ratio is out of whack. So you grow short shoots with bunches on them. There's not enough leaf on that shoot to ripen that bunch. There's too many bunches on the vine for the root system, the soil and the environment, and you don't ripen. So we're looking for balance of fruit and leaf in the environment that you have to ripen the fruit for the variety that you have. So there's a number of factors. So what we're looking for again is strength and position. Okay, those two words are really important, strength and position. We want to keep our crown fairly tight. You can see that these two canes have come in from a tight area. They haven't come out wide. And they're two strong canes. You can see that they're quite thick all the way through to the end. That's what we're looking for. So in replacing those two canes is what we would be doing in cane pruning, where we're going to remove those two canes and lay down two more. In doing that, we're looking for strong canes with good position. When I say strong, at least pencil thickness. So hold up your pinky. Probably as thick as your pinky, but not as thick as yours. So at least pencil thickness, okay? If it's not pencil thickness all the way to the length of the cane that you need to wrap, then don't choose it, look for another one. When we're wrapping canes, we may break one. So rather than leaving just two canes when we remove the old ones, we're going to leave more than two. So working our way out from the crown, we're choosing the best canes we can find. So if we just start from that trunk and look on our way out, we go, right, that one is a strong cane all the way out to a 0.75 metre length we need in that direction. That one is a strong cane, there's two, okay? This one is strong, but tends to taper a little bit, but at the moment, we'll call that a third cane. A fourth cane here. You could say that was a fifth cane, but it was reasonably weak. And a sixth cane there that again is quite weak. So this, on this right side, this vine's a little bit weak, but at the moment we know we have at least one here. So what I'm going to do is make a cut to leave myself those three options on the right side. You can see those three options I've got. Then on this other side, I've got two options here and a third strong option here. So I'm going to make another cut, which has left me three options on each side. As you become, if you're unsure in cutting and pulling out, it's always good to leave a little bit more than a little bit less. You can always come and clean up once you've wrapped. But if you're unsure of your option, just leave the extra one. Now you've made that cut, you've left yourself with what you may wrap, okay? The next process after making what we call the cuts is the pull out. For the pull out, you have your sunnies on, possibly your gloves. There's a zip tie here from last year. The other thing I haven't mentioned yet is this particular setup has got what we call an over wrap. So a 3/4 wrap, where the internodal distance between these buds on the cane have meant that to find our 20 to 22 buds that we're looking for, we're over wrapping through the middle. Okay, because the 1.5 distance isn't quite giving us the number of buds we want. If the internodal gaps are a bit tighter with a younger vine, we might drop it back so that each of the two canes don't meet in the middle. That's a choice in this vineyard that Hugh's made. And I can show you as we pull this out why that choice has been made. So when we pull out, to efficiently pull out a cane, if you start by unwrapping that cane as best you can and pulling down. Now once I've pulled down there, I can see how far I've pulled down with one unwrap. and that I can make a cut in 1 or 2 positions. See, one cut there, and that whole cane's come out. I haven't made multiple cuts to try and get this base out. I've just made one cut, and I've taken out that whole length there. Drop it into the middle of the row for the mulcher to come through. Not under vine where you can't get the mulcher to come through. Again, same thing. If I want to take this out, I'm not cutting down here because I'm wasting cuts. I'll cut as high as I can to take out, cutting away sorry, there's one other structure that I didn't mention. That's tendrils, which like to grab, and you can see that's just pulled that right out. Again, do the same thing. Cut high, pull down. And you see I've cut the other one that was overwrapped as well, but that's fine. Normally you'd be working in a process across and that one might already be cut.